Welcome back. This is still the Idea Morning Digest. And before we went on the break, I told you that we'll be talking about something very, very important. Something, about youth skills, about decent work, about closing that gap between education and employment in Nigeria. So we are turning our attention to a reality, rather, many young Nigerians live every day, but, rarely gets to shape with their own voices, the world of work. And a new youth-led national study titled Beyond Awareness takes us beyond statistics and slogans and, into the actual experiences of young people aged 15 to 35 across Nigeria. And the research shows that while many young Nigerians know that workplace rights exist, far fewer know how to access them, and and even fewer feel protected by the systems meant to enforce them. What emerges is a troubling picture: widespread informal work, limited access to contracts and protections, weak reporting systems, and major gaps between what young people learn and what the labor market demands. Skills gaps, especially in digital literacy, communication, financial management, entrepreneurship, and workplace rights, are leaving many young people vulnerable to exploitation rather than empowered for opportunity. And today we are going to be talking about this. This conversation is not just about jobs. It's about dignity, it's about safety, it's about fairness at work, and about whether Nigeria is truly investing in practical skills that allow young people to thrive and not just survive. This morning we'll be examining education, skills development, and labor performance, labor protection, and how all of these things come together if decent work is to become a reality for Nigeria's youth. So joining us today is Michael Meduya, Monitoring and Evaluation Associate at the Network of Youths, rather, for Sustainable Initiative. That's the NG Youth SDGs. That name should sound ring a bell. And one of the, he's one of the researchers of this wonderful report behind the Beyond Awareness. That's the title of the report. Michael, welcome. It's good to have you on the show this morning. We don't want to waste much time. You have gone out to the field. You have carried out this report, and when we talk about youth employment in Nigeria, the official numbers often tell the story. It doesn't fully tell the story, rather, and you people have gone out there. You have seen what you have seen. So from what your research have uncovered on the ground, how would you describe the real state of youth work in Nigeria today?
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I would say beyond the official statistics, it is actually different from what a lot of people, what we are thinking. I would say the current state of youth work in Nigeria is characterized with, I would say, instability, I would say underemployment, and vulnerability. Yes, because most people work, and let me say most Nigerian youth, they work because they don't really have any other option. Most of them are taking that particular job because there is no option. Most of them, they are working in unsafe environments. Most of them suffer one form of exploitation or the other, and most of them have their rights not fully protected at work, which is not supposed to be. So I would say beyond statistics, beyond the official figures, the state of work in Nigeria amongst the youth is we have a gap. Like we have a lot to do on it. There's still a gap, and the gap is still actually huge.
Sure.
Yes, you mentioned before we commenced and went live about the survey, and that's the first phase. The survey carried out was the first phase of the project. So can you highlight what exactly is the intention behind this project? What do you hope to achieve at the end of the day? And what are the remaining phases that needs to still come to life?
Okay, thank you so much. So the first phase of this project is the research phase. Yes, that is how we went to the field. We got responses from 2,149 Nigerian youths. Yes, it was a youth participatory research approach. Yeah, we made sure every interventions, and at the first phase and subsequent phase, they are going to be championed. They are led by youth. Yes, we make sure it is fully youth participation research. So we had enumerators to support the process, and we got responses from all 36 states of the country, including the FCT. Yes, and we got a nearly balanced gender distribution. That is, for male and female, we had like 50.5 and 49.5 respectively, and we made sure to we had responses from both formal sector, informal sector, and we had some that work in the mix of both formal and informal sector. So also we made sure we included a special demography, which are the people with disabilities, PWD. They are a very special demography in the society. We make sure they are included, and I can say boldly that 1 in 5 of the total number of responses we got for the research, they are actually PWDs. So that is for the first phase, which is the research. And the second phase, we are actually working on creating a curriculum for a skill building workshop, because we noticed a skill gap in the research. So the second phase of this project is a skill building workshop. We are actually working on the curriculum currently. We would have that phase. Then after that phase, then we are going to be having a convening to collate all our results and to prepare a policy brief out of it to submit.
Okay. Let me just come in there.
All right.
Just to establish a base so that people can really understand what we are talking about.
Okay.
Let's see. Just give us should I say a definition, or we want to understand what I believe people out there to want to understand what an ideal workplace right is and how we should be. Let's get
Okay. Let me paraphrase it. According to the ILO, decent work is just an opportunity for anybody, either a man or woman, to get an opportunity to work in conditions that are safe, conditions that are fair, conditions that protect human dignity, and condition of freedom. So decent work is just any opportunity for a man or woman to work in a condition that is safe, a safe condition that protects them. Yes, a condition of freedom, that is to say that they are not afraid to voice out if they are facing any form of challenge or violation or the other. Yes, a condition of equity, that is, there is fairness, they are being treated fairly, they are not underpaid for the services they are rendering. Yes, and a condition of human dignity, that is, their dignity and their rights are being respected as human. They are not treated like non-human, they are treated as humans that they are. They are employed, they are employees, they are not slaves, and they are not object to be tossed around. So that is what decent work is all about.
Okay. So I asked that question because because of the next question. So I wanted us to just create like a background so people can really get a picture and clearer, better understanding of what we are talking about. So this leads me to the question. The report, one of the very, should I say, striking findings here from the report that I noticed is that from your people's report, you said many people in Nigeria, many young people in Nigeria are aware that what workplace rights exist.
Yes.
Yet abuse and exploitation remain common. So why does knowing your rights so often fail to translate into actual protection?
Okay, so that is one key insight of this research. I would say knowledge does not equal protection. Yes, knowledge does not necessarily equal protection. Okay, almost we had like 57%, close to 60% of the survey respondents, they actually know that workplace rights exist. They know that workplace rights exist. We have like 43% of them, they know the adequate places like labor office, ILO office to get adequate information on their workplace rights. Why the confidence to reporting any workplace violation significantly reduced to 40%. Yes, and I won't say it's their fault. Yeah, because the key reason why this is so is because of fear. Yes, fear is the major reason, because most employees are afraid of retaliation. They are afraid of unfair treatment. They are afraid that, okay, if they report to the authorities, most respondents, they said that they don't really trust the authorities, and they don't trust that prompt and swift action is going to be taken immediately once they've reported. And they are really afraid of the consequences. Yes, so I would say that they think the consequences of them reporting is really more than them being silent. So they choose to remain silent because of the consequences, because they see that even if they try to report any form of violation, it's actually going to bounce back to them. They might end up losing their job. Yes, they might end up being blacklisted and stuff like that. So imagine someone that is trying to just fend for himself, his or herself and the family, and facing one form of abuse at work or the other. He or she would not just want to take any rash action. So he or she would want to think about the family before taking any action that would definitely bounce back to the family.
To the family, indeed. And I understand your survey also targeted people in the informal sector.
Yes.
Because usually when researches like this, beg your pardon, are carried out, with more focus are put on people in the formal sectors, perhaps government employees or institutions that are well established. But there are millions of Nigerians, I can't even boldly say, I don't have the data, that many millions of, tens of millions of Nigerians that are employed in the informal sector, while as to be overweight the population of people in the formal sector. So what are the peculiarities that you find out with the people in the informal sector compared to the formal sector? Is there a discrepancy in how because for the formal sector there are labor institutions that can always protect them.
Yes.
We have the issue with the Dangote refinery, how the institution, the name is eluding me right now, but the labor institution came into their protection, came in for their protection. But people in the informal sector, what are the challenges that you think are peculiar to them, and how can they be able to solve their own problems while they know that I'm not a member of any labor institutions and the federal government will not protect me? When I go to the police, my madam has more power, they can just bribe the police to help me. So I want to understand the challenges that are peculiar to them and what can be done to help them solve their problem.
Okay, thank you so much. So the challenges peculiar to those working in the informal sector, okay, let's just leave like a formal contract now, because we know that in the formal sector it is often characterized by like a legal contract. There's a legal binding of clear terms of their work,
which most times are breached.
Yes, but it's you know, when something is legal,
yes,
it's still even better than those in the informal sector.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. I told you earlier that 1 in 5 of the total number of respondents we got for this research are actually people with disabilities, and it is striking to know that every respondent that identified as a person with disability in this research works under the informal sector. So one of the key insights of this research is linking informality to vulnerability. Those working in the informal sector, they are the most vulnerable. Yes, they are the most vulnerable in the sense that let's talk about their human dignity. Take for example, they are not being respected. They are not respected at their workplace. And let's talk about abuse here. Okay, let me not just go deep into abuse like sexual abuse. What about verbal abuse? Most people harass their employees verbally. They harass them verbally, and that is really, I think, it's what will limit productivity in workplace. There's no how someone will be abusing like his or her employee verbally and wants he or she to be more productive and give his or her best at that work. So those working in the informal sector, according to our research, they are the most vulnerable, and the people living with disabilities are the most affected the most. So those working in the informal sector, their rights are not protected. They don't have social protections, which is very, 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 very bad. Like, they don't have their voice. They can't.
I was going to lead you into what then should be the solution to that, because as you mentioned, there are policies, there are government interventions that has been put in place to ensure that even though you're working in the informal sector, you should be well protected and all of that, but that is not being done. So what would be the, I mean, not a solution, but what should happen?
Tie it back to education.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's tie it back to education, because I mean, based on the findings,
yes,
everything I'm asking is based on the findings.
Yes.
You know, our current educational system is kind of epileptic. If I should put it that way, shaking. Yes, it is shaking somehow. So if we want to tie what Wale is saying now back to education, do you think educational system is a problem to these people? Then let's tie it back now to skills, and development. Because when we are talking about education in Nigeria, we complain that we did not get solid education, and that's why a lot of people cannot perform when they go to the labor market. So how can you tie all of these things to be the cause why most of them cannot get some certain kind of jobs that will accord them some sort of respect they need. And it could be, I'm just saying, it could be the reason why most of these people, most of these young people are abused in workplaces, because they are not competent enough. So I want you to just link all of that and tell me.
Okay, thank you so much. So talking about education, yeah, I would say in Nigerian's educational system, there's actually a gap between schooling and, let me say, the norm, like what is needed for work, like the actual skills needed for work. So most of the respondents, they actually identified that though some has, they don't really have the basic employability skills. That is why they are very, very happy to sign up for the skills building training that is the next intervention for this project. So there is actually a gap between what is being taught in school. Most of the curriculum is often more theoretical than practical and looking about the employability skills, and most especially even integrating work rights education even in schools. So this has not been really been done. So I think what we should do is we should try to shift the focus from the theory to something practical, more practical, and like helping the student to get some basic job readiness skills, technical skills, and even work right skills for them to know their right at work. Because most youths, after the school, they are moving to the labor market, but they need some kind of training to prepare them for the labor market. So I would say there is actually a gap. There is a big gap, and I know definitely we'll get there.
Okay. Still talking about that, how do you think we can, cover that gap of knowing their rights? How can we ensure that young people know their right, understand, not just even know, understand their rights? Because like the report says, they know these rights, they know what to do, but, and you mentioned it, I mean, they are aware of it, but they do not know how to. How do we ensure that we remove that fear you talked about, and...
Okay, most young people know their right, like they know that, okay, there are certain rights, but the fear is there, the fear of reporting is there, and it's not actually their fault. There are a lot of consequences. So in trying to cover this, we should have a good reporting system, like a good reporting system that is youth centered, that is friendly to youth, yes, that will protect their interests, and that is actually very, very confidential. Because you can't expect someone to come to you with his or her challenge now, and he or she is now seeing it everywhere the next day. So those kind of acts, they limit trust. So we need reporting channel for organizations that are friendly. We need them to be youth-centered, and we need them to be confidential. And one other thing that is important is swift and quick action. Yes, it is the swift and quick action that would make the youth now start trusting the system, because the trust is low, relatively low.
Indeed. Before we go, because we're really short of time, I'd like to get in because I believe that there has to be a collaborative effort to be able to achieve what we want to get at the end of the day. So what roles do you think, aside from the government institutions, what roles do you think labor institutions, non-governmental organizations, civil societies, and even ordinary Nigerians can do in collaborating together to ensure that people's rights are protected in the workspace? Okay,
collaboration is very, very important. So I would expect the labor institutions to collaborate with even private sectors and CSOs, civil society organizations to collaborate to at least fully integrate work right education. We have the ILO work rights guide for youth. So it is important to integrate work right education for young Nigerians to know their rights at work. So once they know their rights, then they will now start talking about a proper reporting channel, like a very, very proper reporting channel that is youth-centered, as I mentioned earlier. So the first thing is for collaboration to make sure that there is work right education for Nigerian youth. Even the government is not left out in this. Yes, let me say for example, every Nigerian youth as soon as they've left their tertiary institutions to go for NYSC. Something like this is supposed to be integrated in the SAID program. Yes, because that is like the final stage the government is working with Nigerian students. So it should be inculcated, like integrated in the SAID program. Then from there, they would know their basic right at work. Then they would know what to do if their rights are being violated at work.
I think that's really a good process to pursue. Well, I think the problem will continue to arise, and different solution has to be brought up as and when necessary. And when those challenges arise, we'll be able to tackle them. But I think it's a fantastic work that you people are doing. We can't wait to see what more to happen. We hope that we'll also participate in the next phase of the training and other activities that you have in check. But is this still open to many Nigerians or the respondents only?
No, the thing is we've actually got, I told you we got 2,149 responses.
Yes.
And like,
so from those respondents,
yes, I think like 70 or 80% of them indicated interest in the skills building workshop, which is going to be the next phase of this project.
But we're more concerned about our viewers, because some of them might want to be want to participate. So is there still that opportunity to?
The thing is, I think every information about the research, if there is going to be opportunity, is going to be on our website and on our social media. So at Nigerian Youth SG's network, so every information is going to be dropped on across all our social media networks. Okay. Yes, because this is for youth, and there is nothing for us without us. That is our mantra. So there's nothing for us without us as youth.
Okay, I think that's what we'll leave our viewers with. There's nothing for us as youth.
There's nothing for us without us.
Okay, sound out, say it again.
Okay, thank you everyone. There is nothing for us without us.
Without us.
Yes.
So Nigeria youths, we have heard. So one thing is very clear here, that Nigeria's youth employment challenge is not just about job creation, but about job quality. And education without practical skills will leave young people unprepared, and also skills without protection will leave young people exposed, and work without dignity erodes trust. And we heard that from Michael, and we want to build that trust between young people and the society, and of course the future, and not just in employers but in the institutions. And if Nigeria is serious about harnessing its youth population, then investing in practical market relevant skills must go hand in hand with stronger labor protections and accountability. I think that's where we'll draw the curtains for today. Thank you once again, Michael. And yes, my name is Cynthia Bata, and of course I wasn't alone.
It's been a wonderful program this morning, and that's where we leave it. It's a wrap this morning from the Morning Digest program on Idea Television. Join us tomorrow, same time, same station, and keep it locked.